That. That.
Okay. So Debbie, we are going to use some props today. Sue already has hers, but have something at home, like a couple of pillows in place of a bolster and your blocks, because we'll do a restorative pose at the end, at least. And that is because, so my youngest daughter, Eva, she's 2, and she's got her last 2 teeth coming in, her top molars. One is maybe 75% through, and the other one is cutting now. And it has been such a rough week with her. And so last night we were up from, she was up, I don't know how long she was up, but I was up from 1 to 4. And it was just like, oh my goodness, these like little mini chunks of sleep before and after. So I was thinking today, like, got up in the morning, it was later than usual, which was good because then I did actually get a little bit of sleep. But there was just no time for me to actually get out of the house and get us to my oldest daughter's swim lesson that we usually have in the morning. And I felt bad about that. And I was like, there's no way we're going. And then it reminded me this kind of saying kept popping into my head, which was give yourself grace, right? Like if you are in a situation where you're not feeling 100% for whatever reason, you've had a bad night's sleep, you're recovering from sickness, or you've been really stressed, or whatever it is, if you're just tired, just to give yourself this grace to not have to do everything perfectly the way you normally would. And it reminded me of one of the main tenets of Anusara Yoga, which is a defunct yoga style, but it's the style that my teachers were taught in, and the principles are still wonderful. It's just that the teacher had this fall from grace. Speaking of the word grace, as many yoga teachers do. But one of the main foundations of the Anusara Yoga practice is the first principle is to open to grace. And they define that as saying that this principle invites the student to be present and receptive to grace, the revelatory power of spirit, so they can soften their boundaries and open to the vast power around them. This allows the heart and body to expand and the foundation to naturally ground. And there's so much power in this practice of, before we do anything else, of opening to grace, or of giving ourselves grace, of allowing ourselves this room and this space to be just as we are, and to kind of surrender to our reality. And it also reminds me of this principle that Brene Brown talks about. She doesn't call it opening to grace or giving yourself grace. She calls it, what does she say? She says, to be generous with your assumptions, is what she says. What that means is, like, if I don't hear from my best friend for a couple of weeks, which happens very often, I am generous with my assumptions. I give her the grace to assume the best of her, that she's busy, that I've been busy, and that there's nothing personal happening. Whereas I've been in relationships and friendships before where it would be either Karen mad at me, or this automatic assumption of, well, you haven't called me in weeks, and there would be this charge to it, and already this rift that happens for no reason because we're not being generous with our assumptions, not giving that other person grace. So there's so many ways that we can apply this principle of opening to grace, whether it's to ourselves and being generous, or to each other And when we come to our mats, to just open to that possibility of softening and connecting. So let's take a nice comfortable seat. You can sit up nice and tall and close your eyes. Take a moment to first ground into your body. To notice the parts of yourself that are connected to the ground beneath you and to allow them to get heavy and wide, rooted. Then as you inhale, lengthen up your spine, the crown of your head rise toward the sky and your shoulders up, back and down. You can glide your hands back on your thighs until your elbows are just under your shoulders. And breathe. Take a moment to relax. Relax your tongue in your mouth. Soften the skin on your face. Let the corners of your eyes widen and your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Bring the center of your head just over your tailbone. Maybe this means that you lean back just slightly. And here, can you breathe more fully into the back body? And then I invite you to practice this principle of opening to grace. Maybe that means to be gracious to yourself. To be generous with your assumptions of others. Or perhaps it's simply to open to this revelatory spirit, to something greater than ourselves. To let your heart open to that powerful energy. Have that be the intention for your heart-centered practice today. And then please bring your hands together in front of your heart. If there's anything else you'd like to add or refine with your intention, please do. And then we'll begin our class on sealing our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Please take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands. You can move your props off to the side and come to lay down on them. As you lay down, take a full body stretch, reach your arms overhead, lengthen from your fingers to your toes. And then go ahead and reach your left fingertips and your left toes further away from each other, getting longer through your left side. And release and do the same thing on your right. Stretch more through the right fingers and right toes. And then go ahead and release. Full body stretch again, reaching out with both fingers, both toes. Take a breath in here. And then exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. And go ahead and apply some pressure here as you Hug the leg in. Drawing the knee in a little bit closer to your chest. Take your shoulders back and down. And see where else you could relax. So when we practice yoga styles that are a little bit slower, like a gentle yoga practice or restorative or yin style yoga, part of that practice is giving ourselves the grace to be in a pose for a length of time. To settle into the idea that there's nothing else to do except to be present in this shape for a length of time. So here, see if you could train your awareness on your breath. See where you could do a little bit less. And see where you could soften your edges a little bit more. Go ahead and extend your right leg up to the sky. Interlace your hands behind your right thigh. So not behind the knee. If you have your hands there, slide them down about halfway so that you're in the belly of your hamstring muscles. And then see if you could move that leg towards straight. And point and flex your foot. Encircle your ankle in one direction, and then the other. Draw your right knee back in towards your chest. This time, take it in your left hand. Bring your right arm out to a T or to cactus. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, twist. You can roll onto your outer left hip and take your gaze out over your right shoulder. Inhale, come back through center. And exhale, release your right leg to meet your left. Pause and see if there's a difference between one side of your body and the other. Perhaps your right side feels more grounded. Then inhale, full body stretch, reach your arms overhead. And exhale, hug your left knee into your chest. Same thing here. See if you could pressurize a little bit. Use the strength of your arms to pull your leg in and hug it closer to your body. This kind of creates a dam in the body where the blood flow gets a little restricted and blocked. And we do this intentionally so that when we release, this fresh oxygenated blood can come in and replace it. Bring awareness to the back of your body and let it get a little heavier. Drop your shoulders. Relax your jaw and your tongue. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back to your breath. From here, extend your left leg up to the sky. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh, working your leg towards straight. Press up through your heel as you flex your foot. And then go ahead and invite in movement as you point and flex. And circle the foot in one direction and then other. Hug your knee back into your chest. Take your left knee in your right hand, left arm out to the side. Breathe in, exhale to twist. Then look out over your left shoulder. Inhale, come back for center. Hug both knees into your chest here. Giving yourself a little hug. Coming back to that intention of opening to grace and whatever that means for you. You could give yourself a little massage here on your low back, making circles in one direction and the other. Go ahead and roll to your right side. Slowly make your way up to all fours. Coming to a tabletop position with your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. And we'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow here. So inhale, arch your spine. And as you exhale, inhale to a neutral spine, walk your hands a little further out, a little wider, and we'll come into marauding bear, which is just a big hip circle in one direction. The next time you come back through center, go ahead and reverse. Come back through center and find child's pose. Take your knees wide, big toes together, hips back towards your heels. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. Come back through center and walk your hands over to the left as we do a stretch for your right side body. Inhale back through center, come back up to tabletop. And here we'll move into a Vashisthasana variation. So you'll tuck your toes under, and then pivot your right foot off of your mat. And then extend your left leg, sole of the foot on the ground. Bring all of your weight into your right hand. Inhale, sweep your left arm. Curl the shoulders back, lean your head back, breathe. You could stay just like this, or you could pick up your left foot, flex your left foot, and either stay here, or you could bend your knee, reach back for your foot or your ankle, and come into bind. Release if you have the bind, and exhale, bring your foot down, come back through tabletop, and move through around and cat-cow here. Inhale back to neutral spine, and second side. So your left foot pivots off of the mat, extend your right leg long, sole of the foot comes down to the ground. Bring all the weight into your left hand. Inhale, sweep your right arm up. And then you could decide to stay just like this, or you can pick up your right leg, flex your foot. And then maybe this is enough, or you could bend your knee, reach back for your foot or your ankle. Breathe. Release the bind if you have it. Lengthen everything back out. Exhale, release. And find your way into downward facing dog. So place your hands, tuck your toes, send your hips up and back. You can pedal out through your legs here, bend one knee, send the opposite heel towards the earth. On your next inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up pose. And here, bring your knees down. Shift your chest forward in between your thumbs, and as you exhale, bend your elbows back, lower all the way down. Keep your shoulders up, back, and down. Point your toes and press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Inhale, heart lifts forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Right knee stacks over the right ankle. Keep your left hand down and inhale, sweep your right arm up. Exhale, right hand down, then pivot your back heel to the earth. Bring your right forearm up onto your right thigh. Take your left arm out over your ear, coming into side. Exhale, release, curl your arms down, step back, downward facing dog. You can move through vinyasa, stay here in down dog, or find child's pose. From downward facing dog, left leg lifts as you inhale, lunge forward as you exhale. Keep your right hand down, inhale, reach your left arm up, twist. Exhale, release your hands down, then pivot your back heel to the earth. Left forearm to left side, right arm comes out over your ear. Exhale, curl your arms down, downward facing dog. Same options here. This time we'll all meet in child's pose. So you can either stay in down dog, you can move through your vinyasa, you can come right into child's. You can give yourself the grace to make whatever decision is best for you. And then when you're ready, knees wide, big toes together, child's pose. Inhale, walk your hands in. Come to sit and bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. You can sit up on the edge of a blanket here if you feel that you're kind of rounding backwards onto your sitting bones. And press your feet together. Bring your hands to your feet or your ankles. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, hinge from your hips as you fold forward. You can pause when you find your edge, where you get to that point where it's just far enough, a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And then with every inhale, lengthen your spine a little bit more. And with every exhale, there's a letting go. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. And if it's okay on your neck, you could even let the head hang. Inhale to rise. You can bring your hands to the backs of your thighs, push your knees back up to center, and then extend your legs out in front of you. Move the flesh away from your sitting bones. Try to draw the low back in and up. Hug your right knee into your chest. Cross it over your left leg. Take your right hand back behind you. The closer you could bring it to your low back, the better, because then you can use it as a kickstand to lengthen up the spine, to draw the low back in and up, nice and tall. Inhale, left arm to the sky, and exhale as you twist. Inhale to unwind, little counter twists in the other direction. Inhale back to center and go ahead and release. You can shake out your legs. Hug your left knee into your chest. Cross your left foot over your right thigh. Bring your left hand behind you close to your low back. Inhale, lengthen, sit up. On your next breath in, raise your right arm with the line of your ear. Draw your belly in. Exhale, twist. Inhale to unwind, little counter twist in the other direction. Back through center and take your legs wide. So depending on the tightness in your hamstrings and inner thighs, this is a good pose to sometimes sit up on the edge of a blanket or two. And sometimes it's nice to have blocks here. So take a moment, just pause, close your eyes, feel where your sitting bones are hitting the ground and whether or not your pelvis is tucking under, and see if you could draw the low back in and up, come more to the fronts of the sitting bones, keep the pelvis upright. And if that doesn't happen, that's what you're working towards before really hinging forward. And inhale, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, hinge from your hips as you begin to fold forward. It may not be a very big forward fold in this pose, that's okay. Your feet point up towards the sky, kneecaps point up towards the sky. Maybe you bring your forearms down to your blocks, which could be at whatever height fits your body. Draw your shoulders onto your back, shoulder blades. Melt the heart. So this is where poses where maybe we're not built in such a way that we can just fold forward and lay our bodies right on the ground, like some people can. Some people are born naturally strong and flexible, and if you're not one of those people, I definitely am not, then you have to give yourself this grace to say, this is my pose today. It's best for my body. And it doesn't have to look like anyone else's pose. So we keep our own integrity, finding the best alignment that we can in the moment and really doing our best. It's something that I'm constantly reminding myself of when I feel like things are too much or I'm failing, things aren't working out the way that I thought, wished, hoped for, that I'm doing my best. And sometimes our best is just feeding ourselves, taking a shower, getting through the day. With yoga, sometimes our best pose is the beginning option. It's not going deeper. It's being with exactly where we're at, just as we are. And if we can open to the grace in that, we can fully accept ourselves and hold space for our own hearts. A few more breaths here. Inhale, lock your hands in, move your blocks, bring your hands to the backs of the thighs, draw your legs in. And then we're going to set up for two supported poses, one with our blocks, and then we'll move into a restorative pose. This is heart bench. So you could take your blocks at two heights on your mat, one either at its medium or it could be the lowest setting here. And then another block a notch higher for your head. So the first block will come along your spine, right in between your shoulder blades. It'll start where your rib cage starts. So right along the thoracic spine. We'll sit with knees bent, feet on the ground, lengthen, and then slowly lower yourself down. And let your head rest on the second block. For this pose, either keep your knees bent, feet as wide as your mat, knees not thin, or you could extend your legs long. Whichever option feels best on your body. Put your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. With every exhalation, see if you could soften a little bit more. You could release a layer of tension. Practicing this principle of being present, being receptive to grace. Here we can soften our boundaries, the armor of our own hearts. Just a few more breaths here. And we'll come to pause, curled up on our right side, mop up the blocks very mindfully. And just take a moment here. And then slowly make your way up and set up for our restorative pose. So this will be a restorative Supta Baddhanasana. And for this, you'll need 2 blocks, a bolster, and 2 or more blankets. You'll set your blocks up kind of the same way that you did for heart bench, only the blocks will connect with each other. One at its highest setting and one a notch below, and then you could take your bolster, pillows at home, and place it on blocks. Actually, put them that way. Sorry, to lack of sleep will do to you. Wait, I've done this 1,000 times, so that's not good. Go ahead and take one folded blanket and bring it over the top of your bolster like a T. Another blanket you can open like this. You have one? No. Okay. And like this, look, just did that wrong too. And roll this up. Just and then you'll go ahead and sit with your low back right up against the edge of the bolster. So people often make the mistake, the biggest mistake in this pose is to be back here and to have this space, because then when you come to lay down, your low back is not going to be supported. You want to shimmy back so that you're just like a little, maybe you could bring your fingers between your low back and the bolster, but that's it. And then you'll take your knees up and bring your blanket roll on top of your ankles. And then you'll hold the edges back, so bring your feet in a little bit closer. Yep. And then you'll start to open your knees and tuck the edges kind of underneath your thighs. Lean back. So basically you want the blanket to hold your legs up, be a little taut. How's that? This should feel like a comfortable enough position that you could commit to being here for 10 minutes. This will be our Shavasana. And if it's not, if it becomes uncomfortable, or if there's any numbness or tingling or pain, you can of course come out and find a pose that better suits your body. From here, take a deep breath in. Let it go with a sigh. Give yourself permission here to surrender. To let go. Draw awareness back into your body. Wiggling your fingers, your toes. When you're ready, inhale your knees back up to center. And come to pause on your side, either staying up on your bolster configuration or coming off of it. When you're ready, make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes and bring your hands together in front of your heart. Drop your awareness down into the space of your own heart. And take a moment to open to grace. Open to the possibility that there's something more than what we see, feel, experience. Connect to that higher power, both in you and without you. I invite you to set a new intention now to carry with you off of your mat and back out into your life. Perhaps it's just to continue this practice, this heart-opening, heart-centered practice of grace. Maybe it's just to be a little softer and gentler and kinder to ourselves and each other. Then let's end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Erin. Have a good one.
You
Get some
too.
sleep.
Fingers crossed.
And Erin, it is
I-
really important to remember that you're always doing your best. Don't forget
No,
that.
it's so hard as a mom to
No, it really
forget.
is. I mean, I know that when, from my past, when working full time, being a full time working mother, it's like you try to be super mom and you get so strung out. And it's just important just
You
to be
can't do
like,
it all.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
like-
can't do it all. Just remember that you can't do it all because it's hard not to get to that place where you blame yourself, and don't do that to yourself.
I know,
agree
do
with
that
you.
spiral, right? We have to be
Yeah.
gracious with ourselves for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Thanks, Debbie.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.